Hi, I'm Robert Osborne. We have some Bob's picks straight ahead. Usually when it comes to me picking movies, I try to come up with films that aren't that well known, or movies we haven't shown for a long, long time, or maybe a movie that we just acquired for showing. Not this time. This next movie is one I picked because hopefully it'll be seen by people who've never seen it before. And I think it's a movie that really needs to be seen. And I must say I envy you if you haven't seen it before because of the discovery you have in store. The film is a great one, A Place in the Sun, directed by George Stevens, released by Paramount in 1951, and starring Montgomery Clift, Elizabeth Taylor, and Shelley Winters. It's based on Theodore Dreiser's novel An American Tragedy, actually a true story, and one which fascinated Dreiser because of all the dramatic elements that it encompasses. Social caste systems, ambition, passion, poverty, the good life, all these things leading to a death, maybe a murder, and life spiraling out of control. Now, it's a project that George Stevens took to the bosses at Paramount, a studio which had earlier made an early 1931 film version of Dreiser's book, which had not been a success. Well, Paramount didn't give Stevens an immediate green light on this remake because that earlier version hadn't made a dime. But Stevens, in essence, said, hey, that earlier version was a failure because it didn't stay true to Dreiser's book, whereas Stevens wanted to do the story exactly as Dreiser had written it. Well, eventually the executives at Paramount said yes, mainly because they wanted George Stevens to make new, other movies for the studio. So to that end, they agreed to let him have his way on this project. Well, the film was finished and ready for release in 1950, but it turned out so well, Paramount realized that if it was released at that time, would very possibly compete for Academy Awards and audience attention with another drama they were releasing in 1950, Sunset Boulevard. So they held up this George Stevens movie for a full year before sending it to market. Well, that implied to a lot of people that the film had not turned out well. But it had. I mean, it really had turned out well. But when it did open and became a box office blockbuster, many people were surprised. But nobody ever questioned why it would go on to win 6 Academy Awards, including one for George Stevens as the Best Director of the Year. Well, here's that movie, maybe my favorite of all, and certainly one of the great films, A Place in the Sun.